In a lot of the videos that I do regarding increasing conversion rate and grabbing the attention of a shopper, a common point that I make is you really should go in and research the reviews. Look at the reviews both in social media as well as on Amazon, your own reviews, your competitor product reviews, and really dig in to see where the positive and the negative reviews are. And most people don't take the time to do that. However, this is a competitive advantage for you if you choose to take the time to actually listen to your target audience and the previous buyers that have bought either your product or any of your competitor products. This is especially true if you sell a very high volume product. I'm going to show you an example here where I'm just going to look for a USB hub because I know USB hub sells tens of thousands of these things. So let's say, for instance, you are selling a USB hub. And the question that you're asking, you got your product listing dialed in, you got your main image and your subsequent images dialed in, you've got your title dialed in to hook that shopper, and you've got all your bullet points and your content, your A+ content, dialed in to not only index for as many keywords as you can, but also to talk to the benefits of your product. Sometimes what we need to know, it may not be so obvious, especially if we're selling a product that's very similar to what other competitors are doing. Or maybe we're even going so far as to research what our audience likes and dislikes about the products on the market so we can bring something better to the marketplace, which I strongly encourage you to do. However, you've got to do some research ahead of time. You can't just guess and say like, oh, well, magically it's going to work. I'm going to beat them on price, or I'm going to have better photos or something like that, because they're going to catch up to you, right? They're going to modify, they're going to catch up. Somebody else is going to copy you, and then all of a sudden you're right back in place again. So paying attention to what shoppers and the buyers are saying. The shoppers are probably talking about it more on social media. The buyers are going to be directly on Amazon and any other of the e-commerce channels, your Walmarts, your Shopify, any of these others where there are visible reviews where people talk about what the product, what they like or they dislike about the product. Now, here is the challenge that we want to do, we want to overcome, is being able to review a lot of, or analyze a lot of reviews in bulk, right, in once. It is impractical. If you take a look at the screen here, you can see is that some of these products here, 86,000 reviews. You're not going to do that by hand. You're not going to hire a team to do that by hand. That is overwhelming. However, you can go in and take a look at the product and potentially analyze the reviews in bulk and use what we call sentiment word cloud. Now, I know that sounds like a big mouthful of garbage, right? But what that essentially means is you're using tools in order to group words together or count the number or the frequency of individual words or phrases together in order to determine which ones that were posted in relation to positive reviews versus negative reviews, and the patterns start to emerge that you can then use in the language that you're using in speaking to your target audience in your own product listing in order to answer some of their fears, because maybe they've been reading the reviews of your competitors. You want to say, hey, you know what? I've got a product that's equally as good or better, ideally better, and you want to be able to use language that hooks them more into your product and avoids potentially some of the negative language or some of the negative connotation that your competitors have brought to market with their garbage products. So there's a couple of tools that are available. I certainly encourage you to comment on this post. Let me know how you're doing it. If you're doing it by hand, there's other tools that I use that I'm not going to cover at the moment. They're a little bit more in-depth, but there are tools. There's enterprise tools, which can be very expensive, including, for instance, Semanto, for instance, has a whole enterprise system. Those are typically for wholesalers and large brands that want to analyze a lot of data about their brand across social media, across e-commerce and omni-channel, and gives them more of a view of how their brand is doing as well as their products. Now, if I go in and look at some of the common tools that might be available to an Amazon seller, one of those, of course, would be Helium 10 and their Chrome extension. If you're subscribed to Helium 10, we do use it for a number of things, but I will tell you right up front is I am not a fan of their review insights. I think it is only partially done. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and I think they've got a lot of room for improvement on this. However, I will tell you is that from an initial pass, if you already are a subscriber to Helium 10, use what you've got, right? It's already in there. It's already in the Chrome extension. If you were on the product listing, you'd have to do this on your own, as well as each of your competitors that you want to look at that may have a lot of reviews. Use that Helium 10 Chrome extension to do the reviews analysis. jump in there, and what I like to do is I look at the ones that are only verified, and I prefer that. And then I look at the 1 and 2 star reviews, and I extract those reviews. The thing that I don't like about Helium 10's Chrome extension on review analysis is it likes to only group in 2-word chunks. So the word cloud, as you can see, is all 2 words. Not working, stopped working, USB hub. Pretty much in every single review, I'm sure, does not USB ports. Doesn't really give you much insight. These are rather vague because it doesn't really drill down any further. You can go through and click on. You can of course read them all, so it just kind of makes it so that you can see them. You can search for individual words if you think there's a pattern that you want to take a look at. You can also look at review analysis, and then you can dive a little bit deeper into things like not work. And then it just shows you, it doesn't say like, okay, here's what stems off of, here's the other words that are close by that stem off of this term that seems to be showing up a lot for negative reviews as far as not work. And what it does is simply just says, oh, here's the review and here's where it is in the review, so you can figure it out for yourself. So a lot of the work gets put back on you. So with that in mind, I would offer, that is a good one. Like I said, if you already have Helium 10, the Chrome extension, it's good because you're already paying for Helium 10, and therefore you can use their Chrome extension in order to do the analysis partially. One of the ones that I use certainly for my own brands and for my own products is a tool called reviewmonitoring.com. Now, mind you, I'm not an affiliate for either of these companies, for any of these companies, okay? The only one that I'm going to suggest, of course, is have our professional team over at Canopy Management do a whole professional listing and this kind of research for you and your catalog. But if you're going to do it yourself, some of the things that are kind of nice about this tool here as far as review monitoring is it does do let me jump back here and show this a little bit more. It does do multi-e-commerce channel review analysis. It doesn't do social media. That I think is a very big missing gap in some of the tools available to Amazon sellers. It does, of course, do the positive and the negative word clouds so that you can see individual words, not just 2 words, but individual words. And you can drill down into those and see where the stemmed words are before, the pre, and the post on that word. So you can drill down, you can see better what the next greatest word is that's associated with a word pair or an individual word that may be part of a negative sentiment, so that like on this one here, it's showing, for instance, a positive sentiment and saying graphics are better, amazing, phenomenal, great. Those are the next biggest ones associated with that. So you can really start getting a feel for what is the positive and the negative sentiments of reviews on Amazon and across multi-channel for your products and your competitors' products, which I encourage you to do, to jump in. Of course, there is a subscription to review monitoring. I don't remember exactly what the cost is, but it's reasonable. But it is definitely something that you want to take a look at if you're really wanting to understand your target audience and really try to speak their language and say, this product, my product, solves this common pain. It does this thing. You always want to talk in the positive with your product. You don't want to knock competitors and say, well, it doesn't break like this other guy. You always want to make sure that you are putting a positive spin on everything that you say in your content, in your images, in your main image, your subsequent images, your title, of course, your bullet points, your description, and of course your A+ content. Try this. Try using either the tools you got available to you. Like I said before, if you've got additional strategies that you like to use for review analysis and really understanding what the positive and negative critiques are, I guess, for the positive comments and the negative critiques for products and the tools that you use, please add them to the comment. I'd love to start this discussion. And also comment if you want me to expand on this topic further. I would love to dive deep into this, but I need to make sure that I've got enough people who are going to listen to it in order to take the time to really thoroughly document and research this for you. I'm Brian Johnson. Have a fantastic